Okay, today I'm going to be talking about how the Earth really goes around the Sun and how it's attached to the Sun, because all the planets are attached to the Sun by a waveform projection, which then accumulated matter at the pinch points and formed a planet, because that's what electrical waveforms do, which is why I've explained over the last 6 months. So what you see on the screen there is how the Earth supposedly rolls around the Sun in a gravity well of ridiculousness, really, because there's no bends in space. Space is a void and the universe is electric, and we are literally in an electrical dragnet, electromagnetic mesh throughout the universe. And it's got nothing to do with the weight of things, it's to do with the energy connection of things. So even though the Sun is in the center there and the planet spins around it, it is not in a groove that it rolls around. It is actually on the end of a waveform, and the movement is attached as per here. So I'll be explaining the waveform cross and how it's attached to the planet in a minute, but basically it looks like an arrow, but at the head of the arrow is the planet. So it is being pushed around and pulled by energy from the Sun, a double helix waveform that connects us to the Sun, and it moves us in or out towards the Sun or away depending on the energy that is going through the Sun, because the Sun is connected to us, we are connected to the Moon, the Sun is connected to the black holes, and the black holes are connected, well, they should be connected to God, but they're not. But that's the universal voltage drop for you, so we won't go into that today. Okay, so now I'll go into my paper explaining how the Earth is attached, why there are two different spins, and why it's all rotating counterclockwise. Now this is the spin of the Earth. They've actually got their drawing. I've drawn mine the opposite direction, so I'll just go through this first. As you can see, the planet is spinning counterclockwise around the Sun, and a counterclockwise rotation day-night, and the waveform attachment would be here. And so now I'll explain that on my paper. Okay, we'll start at the top. So we've got your top left picture, and you've got the Sun at the bottom there, and you've got an energy waveform attachment. Now underneath that I've got the Aleph of God, and as you can see it's a circle with two horns. So the waveform projection that I've got up there with its orbital arms, two of them, the Earth in the center with its counterclockwise rotation, that could be the shape of the Aleph of God. Obviously we can't see it, but both of these forms exist in the energy world, and I've shown them in previous videos. Okay, so then we go over to the north, south, east, west ball picture in the center there with your clockwise and your counterclockwise rotations. So obviously you would turn your head on your side there, because the whole thing is rotating counterclockwise. You have your north, which is counterclockwise rotation, and then obviously if you were standing in the south you would have a clockwise rotation. This is because of the nature of the waveform rotation. It is perfectly visible in smoke, and the halo particle wave duality video I showed the other day with halo smoke, as the waveform comes out it spins into a halo in a counterclockwise motion, and that is why we get a north spin and a south spin that are in complete opposition, but it's only because of the attraction of the planet, which makes you and me upside down if you are in the north or southern hemispheres. But in fact it's only the entire waveform rotating counterclockwise. But there also are the waveform arms which pass through each other, because it's an X, as you can see on the left of God, and as they do that they intertwine into double helixes, and then the arms come out of the poles. So the arms don't spread out in a Y, they actually cross through the center of the planet in an X, and then they spread out into the arms. Okay, so this is where obviously you have to use your brain. This is where you have to think. This is where real thinkers come in, people who can imagine what's going on. So you've got your Sun on the left there with its clockwise and counterclockwise spiral arms of the waveform. These go, because they should be like the Aleph of God there, but just for the waveform's sake I've shown it as it is in smoke, but the clockwise rotation goes in through the south and out and up into the north, and the counterclockwise rotation goes in through the north and out through the south. And on the right hand side there you can see where I have drawn the rotational travels, and what that actually also does is that is the EM field, because when energy goes through matter it spirals, and when it comes out the other side it goes back to being energy again. So as it's going through the earth it creates the electromagnetic field, which is connected to the waveform, which is connected to the sun. So if the sun gets cold, so will we. The atmosphere will come down because the Earth's electromagnetic field will shrink, which it is doing. Scientific fact. The electromagnetic field is shrinking, the Earth is at its most prolific, coming into a Maunder minimum, they believe. The sun has gone to sleep. You can look up any kind of headline like that and you will find out it is correct. And here we see lots of climate changes on Earth, which they're trying to blame on carbon, just so they can force a carbon tax out of lots of countries. So those are the directions of travel as I just explained. And then finally we come to a smoke pulse, which is an electromagnetic radiation pulse from a radiation fire. As you can see on the left there, which looks like a set of horns, that is how smoke energy performs a rollover wave, clockwise and counterclockwise. It has a counterclockwise spin to the top of the waveform, which can be likened to a cylinder roll, so it's still all moving counterclockwise, but when you stick it on a planet, one goes in one side, one goes in the other, you have a full counterclockwise rotation. But now, because people are upside down on either end of the planet, one is moving clockwise and one is moving counterclockwise. Energy moves matter. Matter can't move itself. The Coriolis effect is a pile of nonsense. It's a bit of a joke, really. The Big Bang makes things spin. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because all these forces that are supposedly acting upon each other in the Big Bang universe everything would have stopped by now. But it's not. It's still chugging along, because energy from an electromagnetic waveform is coming from the sun and it is turning the planet, which, biblically speaking, that's how God was able to turn the planet backwards and make the sun go backwards in the sky, and the shadows go back up the steps or down the steps, or whichever way it was, is because energy moves matter. And if you reverse the energy, you will not reverse time, but you will reverse the spin of the planet and roll it backwards so you can move the sun. See how easy that is for God? Everything is explained by double helix energy flow. And so finally we have energy moves matter. Energy moves matter in a double helix waveform. Energy holds matter together. Electromagnetism causes motion. Electromagnetism rotates the planet. The Earth is connected to the sun by a waveform energy projection. According to Habakkuk 3:4 original Hebrew, God proves his power. He is as the light, and from his hand come two horns, and this is the hiding of his power. Well, it's not hidden any longer. Thanks very much. My name's Lee, and I'm a Christian.